talking to the right people.
Yeah. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
Well, the DMA has programs for, preschoolers through high school. And we have, let's see, toddler art class for ages 2 and 3. And we have a preschool class for ages 3 and 5, called Arturo's Art and Me. We also have a homeschool class for ages 6 to 12. And we offer summer camps for ages 4 through 12, plus our teen art camp too. Usually the structure of our classes is really, because we're an art museum, to have a gallery component plus a studio component. So, each class is thematic, so we'll have a different theme each month, and we'll take kids to look at works of art connected to the theme, and we try to make it really engaging and dynamic for them. Sometimes it'll be like interactive stories that we do, or movement, or looking activities that are done to get them really, interacting with a work of art and making this personal connection. And then we'll come back to the studio and then create something based on that experience. So, all the classes really follow that basic format, but obviously for different age groups, you can do really different things.
So each of the classes we have technique built into them, but really focused mainly on that theme of identity and what can we teach them, but what can they teach us, and what can we learn throughout that process, and what can we learn as a class through discussion, and what can we do in the galleries that's just kind of expanding our knowledge and maybe thinking in different ways, and then coming back in here and doing some hands-on activities and things like that. So we have some really good stuff in the works, and actually. Well, and JC and I actually lead the Urban Armor Tween and Teen program here at the museum, which, as we pointed out earlier, this is a product of one of the classes. And this was our Urban Armor Teen Summer Camp that we had for 2 days this past summer. And the Tween and Teen classes meet once a month on Sundays. Hopefully we'll start meeting more, and we have a camp in the summertime. JC was the brains behind the program, so maybe you can talk about the creation and the inspiration for maybe the Carol Funk piece that inspired you.
Well, it really came out of this idea that there's this age group that's being kind of underserved by the museum. So all of our classes go up to age 12, but then what happens when they are
fall off the map,
it's what do they do? So there has really been this big push the last, I want to say 5 years, to really create content and classes for teens. And I think kind of we're actually behind a lot of museums in that respect. But I think, trying to come up with a cohesive idea behind the class, it was this theme of identity, because, that age, I think, identity is such a vital part of that growing process. And I guess the name came from this Carol Funk piece that's in the galleries, and it's, I don't know, you'd have to look at it, but it's
called Untitled.
Yeah, it's Untitled number 21, and it's kind of this hooded, figure is just wearing this kind of generic hooded parka, but it kind of gives you that sense this person could be any person, but no one. And I think that I can relate to that. I could relate to that when I was in high school, kind of being finding myself and trying to protect yourself with this kind of armor of sorts, this jacket. So. I think that's an interesting question. I think that definitely social media is not really a component that we have really gotten into yet, which I think that we would like to try to do more of. And certainly I don't know enough about it myself to integrate it that well. But I think the people that we work with have a good sense of that. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, what can I say? say? What can I really say? No, I think we've tried, or I've tried, to let's create a page, or let's
Yeah.
do this, that, and the other. Let's set up a broadcaster site, for Urban Armor specifically. Let's do that and the other. A lot more hoops than I realized. So right now we're just blogging about experiences happening in the Urban Armor class. We're
And
interviewing.
posting photos on Flickr.
Yeah, posting
that kind
photos
of
on Flickr, and I'm doing a lot of it kind of guerrilla and doing it on my personal side,
Yeah.
and posting that way until things change a little bit. So, but I think there's a need for that. I
Yeah.
really do.
There really is.
Because the
And-
kids come in and they are
Oh yeah.
tweeting and posting and,
Yeah.
and doing all this while we're having the class, and I encourage that, and I want that to happen because
Yeah.
that's how they get the word out, and that's their language. And
We have tried it before. I did something before you started. It was like a designer toy contest thing, and we had like a Facebook
yeah.
component to it where we posted their designs on there, and then there was a voting to see who the winner was.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of nascent still, I think.
Right.
But,
I think as much as I avoided technology for a long time, I hate to admit that, but I avoided it for a long time, but I see the purpose and I see the relevance and I see the need for it, especially in the museum world, and I see it with our teens. I think we need more of it, and I think the museum is going to have a lot more of it soon. Tune in.
Yeah.
Come January, we'll have a lot of changes happening here. So.
yeah, I think it's an exciting time to be at the DMA specifically
Yeah.
because of the changes that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that there will be a lot more social media kind of integration into all the things that we do. So
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
exciting.
But we can't talk more about that at this time. So,
I think very much that's all.
well, challenges using Flickr. I think here, let's just start with Flickr. I don't think a lot of people use Flickr these days, or, I think it's archaic. I hope I'm not offending anyone, but, I go back and look at who's actually viewing our Flickr page, and it's not a lot. I do realize it's a great way to store photos, but it's not being used. So that's a challenge to get people to actually, hey, go look at our photos, go upload, go do this, that, and the other. It's not happening. And also, our blogs aren't being viewed either. So we put a lot of work and effort museum-wide, internally here, to put out these really awesome blogs. I mean, really behind the scenes. We go interview artists, we do all this stuff, and they're really not seen often by a lot of people, and they're pretty much seen by us internally and maybe a few others, but not a whole lot. So that's challenging to really stay ahead of the game, and technology is changing so fast that how do you keep up with it? And by the time by the time you do, something new's out, and by the time you go through the processes of an institution this big to get something approved that we can use, there's something new out there, And so that's a challenge to us here. I definitely see community happening here, and I see it in our teens. And I've seen a lot of change happen since I started. So it's only been about a year since I've started, and I've seen huge transformation in our teen population since then. I mean, our Urban Armor program has grown in a year, and people are building relationships. You could see it in our teen summer camp. They were exchanging numbers. They were high-fiving right and left.
Yeah.
They didn't want to leave each other.
And they also came from diverse backgrounds and different schools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diversity. And I also think that, as much as we're trying to bring people into the museum, we are also going out of our four walls and trying to reach populations that might not necessarily come here. And so I think that's important. I think we're making huge strides in that area. And then I think the museum is making efforts to think about teens for the first time in a long time. So that's what
I think it's what's cool to me is that we really offer such a diverse array of classes and programs for all ages. So it's cool to see kids who've been doing like Arturo's Art of Me from when they were 3 to like doing summer camp. Just watch them grow and kind of their connection to the museum grow.
Yeah.
And I think really what excites me is that to give these people like ownership over the museum, and that they feel like this place is theirs, and that they feel like this is a place where they want to come. It's like an old friend or something.
Right.
And I've seen that a lot with some of the kids who've come through our other classes. So it's just really cool.
And I think with the new year, a lot of new things are going to be happening, and our museum is only going to be that much greater and more welcoming and more open to the community and all ages. And I think I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be really, really great to see the growth come January.
Yeah. And I wish I could speak more to it, but I feel like we give so many opportunities to students. Like
Their classes are free. I should have said that.
yeah, and just like the stuff that Shannon does with Booker T and Andrea did with Booker T, and like tag visits and stuff. I think it's
And
amazing.
allowing the teens to be docents here at the museum
Yeah.
and give tours to people is really awesome.
Yeah.